Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Before we get into today's topic, I just want to remind everybody that I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. And just because I'm talking about a project does not mean you should buy it. So, the topic at hand is kind of controversial. It is Bitcoin Satoshi's vision, or BSV. And a small history on how we got here is Bitcoin's first fork in 2017 produced what we call Bitcoin Cash, spearheaded by Roger Ver and Craig Wright. And about a year later, they broke up, and now we have Bitcoin SV with the Bitcoin Cash fork. And that's spearheaded by Craig Wright, who I will talk about a little bit later. So BitcoinSV, or Satoshi's vision, and ticker symbol BSV, the whole mission is to declare themselves the true Bitcoin and stay true to the original goals of the Bitcoin white paper's author, Satoshi Nakamoto. Although I will get a little into detail about Craig Wright, this is not a slam video, and I will not be discussing if he is or if he is not the pseudonym and original author, Satoshi Nakamoto. So, what's the vision's vision? Now, some of this information I sourced from their website, BitcoinSV.com, but a lot of it came from the CoinGeek London conference in 2020. The Bitcoin Association supports Bitcoin SV, or BSV, as the original Bitcoin, reflecting its mission to fulfill the Satoshi vision. BSV was created to restore the original Satoshi protocol, keep it stable, and enable it to massively scale. Unlike other projects, or Bitcoin projects, only Bitcoin SV has the plan for a stable protocol and plan for massive on-chain scaling to become the world's new money and the global public blockchain for enterprise. This is critical to ignite the future of e-commerce and create a profitable ecosystem for all Bitcoin industry participants. Well, it has a lot of similarities to Bitcoin, but also a lot of differences. One of the similarities is there's a 21 million max supply, and just like BTC, it undergoes halvings and is a proof of work mechanism. BSV has only had one halving, while BTC has had two. Soon, BSV will be the only smart contract protocol still using proof of work. Now, that's a pretty interesting fact. What makes it different is it has big blocks, big blocks, 2 GB. But why? It's for abiding by regulation, law, tax, and storing information mined, scripts, all sorts of things. Now, it might be important to take note that BSV does hold the world record of the biggest block mined of 128 megabytes, and that happened in 2019. So they also focus on digital signatures. Digital signatures cannot be anonymous. Identity is required. It is an electronic exchange of a signature, an agreement to be bound from an individual. They also focus on trusted third parties, not a traditional middleman, and not designed to make banks obsolete. This involves maintaining identity information. It is a middleman that has a role in providing intermediary services to stop money laundering and fraud, know your customer, and anti-terrorism procedures if needed. Another unique aspect is video. You're able to actually upload video directly on the blockchain. They have companies like Streamanity. This allows contributors to upload directly onto the blockchain and be paid in BSV. They have on-chain scaling, which was included in the original Bitcoin protocol. And to quote Craig Wright and many others, the only platform that scales is BSV. Those are some pretty heavy words. And smart contracts. Now, this works primarily on inputs and outputs and looping the information together. It was included in the original white paper. Smart contracts on Bitcoin BSV's blockchain network have enforcement features built in that allow issuers to freeze, thaw, and confiscate coins. These features enable parties to manage their tokens effectively and also comply with laws and regulations. That's right, they also have tokens because why not? They have file storage, and they have something called the MetaNet. Now, this is interesting. It focuses on making the internet a sidechain to BSV. My mind's blown about that. I don't even really know. But they also have permissioned miners, and I'm not really too sure about this either. I think it's widely misunderstood because some very big names who are against BSV still mine it. Roger Ver, CZ Binance being some of the big names behind pools that utilize the BSV network rewards. I do not think Craig Wright gave Roger Ver permission beforehand to mine on his protocol, and I'm not sure why you would mine a coin that you don't even host on your website. Seems foolish to me, but I think the whole permissioned miners thing is misunderstood. If you know what it means, please leave it in the comment below. They also have tons of patents by nChain. nChain, they are going to be heavy hitters in this space, and not going too far into detail, but they do claim that the patents are to protect the data and the technology. This whole project is open source, so if you do want to use their technology, you can. What else? So payments. It can be sent to a username. That's not new, but it is kind of cool. And another quick quote from Craig Wright is, there are two ways to send money. If the recipient is online, you can enter their IP address and it will connect. Get a new public key and send the transaction with comments. If the recipient is not online, it is possible to send it to their Bitcoin address, which is a hash of their public key that they give you. Payments and NFC cards or contactless credit cards are also on the horizon, but not new. It's definitely cool, but they do focus on peer-to-peer. And this is the process of sending from one person to another person. The node processes that we know today can be considered obsolete and only cause complications and confusion, which kind of protect criminals. BSV node processes claim to be more secure and can make any illegal transaction invalid across the entire network. They take money laundering and criminal activity very seriously, and that's all the way from the customer to the miner, making it an economically secured system. And micropayments are also very big with BSV, and they want to make clear that the myth is that Satoshi didn't design it for payments, but for a store of value, and that is false. When in actuality, Bitcoin was designed to provide peer-to-peer micropayments, not 1 of 2 cents, but fractions of a penny. And micropayments are all about super high transaction volumes. Refunds would even be possible via scripts. And like, for instance, if you rented a movie, you only got charged if you watched at least 5 minutes of it. Now, in all our current models, these fees are greater than the service provided, so micropayments fall kind of into the shadows. Well, micropayments matter. The main use case of BitcoinSV is micropayments. If applicable, it would be a complete overhaul for our known incentivized world. Advertising, search results, they would all improve dramatically. Bitcoin was not designed to provide decentralized nodes that people control money with. The peer-to-peer aspect of Bitcoin incorporates the exchange of a cash-based token using an identity system that is economically varied depending on the risk. Bitcoin was designed to align with British law, and the integration of privacy and identity within Bitcoin is simple regarding large transactions. So BSV is not about code is law, and it's not about anarchy. BSV claims to be non-political, but obviously that's unavoidable surrounding this project. Nodes are not outside the reach of government, and it is not ruled by a consensus. Apparently, I am learning that no blockchain actually is. The myth of consensus has been promoted by people who seek to fraudulently claim that Bitcoin was designed for illicit use. So you could build on top of BSV, and that makes it arguably a scaling solution for all altcoins as sidechain. There's a lot of ego involved surrounding this coin. The founder is one of the most controversial characters in the space. He is widely accepted as a fraud. Despite where evidence points, I find the whole ordeal filled with politics and look at it as kind of like a stain on the community. And there's also a lot of negatives here. It's really going to be hard to scale this project within its most recent climate and industry politics, but it should be secondary to the fundamentals. 60% of the mining is controlled by the founders. I'm not sure how agreeable that is or how factual that still is. Craig Wright, he could be considered a major problem. Are the Satoshi claims necessary? The mystery of Satoshi was cool, even if it takes, much of the projected lore away if you are Satoshi. Now, this is going to be probably the most controversial thing that I'm going to say tonight. And I do believe that if the fundamentals are there and this project can be adopted, it kind of makes all other projects obsolete, making their founders and stakeholders and community very upset. So if I had a big project on the horizon and I find out that this project BSV is actually what it says it is, I'm going to be pretty reluctant to admit that Craig Wright's Satoshi or that BSV is the original Bitcoin. So putting that all aside, one thing that they do focus on a lot and could be considered a negative or positive is identity and traceability. So it's going to be fully auditable and taxable, and it's going to abide by laws. So you're not going to be buying kilos of heroin or cocaine with this coin and think you're going to get away with it. And at the end of the day, guys, I'm going to wrap this up, but I do think we should all follow this project. As a disclosure, I am not invested yet, but I do plan on following it and getting in soon. I do plan on making more videos on this topic in the future, so look forward to those. And don't forget, like and subscribe and leave a comment, good or bad. I could definitely use the criticism, and just all those things help the algorithm, of course. But you guys have a good night, and I will see you in the next video.